to the bottom, 6 to go.
Makes a mistake again. He missed a shift. He's going to spin to the inside turn. He's going to take the lead.
Eli Hinton just got used up there in the hairpin.
He's going to pick up a win after a long winless streak and visit victory lane. And the whole field just needs to get himself slow down, hop these curves, up and over. There's that cannon with an attack. Great restart here for the 2 car, but also for the 48. He crosses him over, down into turn 1, there goes the tail. Here comes the 20 alongside. The 13 car gets turned. He's going to spin in turn 2.
The 2019 Fuel HostVenom Cup Series comes to a close in a little over 3 weeks, but before we get to Homestead on the 18th of June, we head to the Paperclip, Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia. Welcome to SimTV, back after a crazy weekend of racing out at Grid Life Midwest. I'm here tonight joined by William Troy from the Virtual Racing League, as Finian is still out on vacation this week. So, William, tonight we race 200 laps at the Paperclip, and it's championship season, and we're about to eliminate last year's champion who won over half the races. He's on the chopping block tonight, and he's mathematically already eliminated because the car count tonight, only 16 cars entered, and he's in trouble after 200 laps here at Martinsville.
Yeah, I haven't seen nothing like that since. Surprising to see last year's champion already going out. Normally you don't see that in leagues like this. You normally see consistency, so that's a surprise to see.
A surprise for sure, but again, Martinsville Speedway, just under a half a mile, 4 corners around this racetrack. But the new package, I want to talk to you, Will, about a little bit about how that is going to affect the driving tonight. Higher downforce means higher corner speeds, but really not a lot of downforce here because you're going through the corners so slow. So has this new package really changed short track racing at all, or is it more about the engine power that we're concerned with?
Well, they still get the 750 horsepower here, so you're still going to have to manage tires and stuff. The downforce helps a little bit, especially if you want to try to rough someone up. It makes it a little bit harder to spin them out just because its car is still planted. But, you know, tires will be more of effect than you would normally see thanks to the 750 horsepower we have.
So taking a look at the conditions tonight, 78 degrees in the air, 94 on the racetrack, a relatively cool afternoon here in Martinsville. And we mentioned the smaller field count. Well, it's build week here in iRacing. A couple new features released, including the 2019 Ford Mustang Cup car. Unfortunately, no one tonight is running that. And I guess we can't really blame anybody. Dropping $11.95 on build day, it hurts everybody in the wallet just a little bit. So no Fords here tonight. We mentioned only 16 cars. The field is small, and we only had 9 cars qualify. But at the top of the board is Thomas Bresci in the number 24. Victory Lane has eluded him this year, but he's looking really strong tonight. Also, the driver to watch, I think you mentioned him in practice, William, is the 89 of Jeff Ward. He qualified second. He looks like he's been the quickest car so far tonight. But Martinsville is always a little bit push and shove with a smaller field count. I think we're going to see this race probably go green more than anything this evening.
Yeah, I would definitely expect that. You know, it looks like only 15 cars have actually taken the grid right now. Looks like Anthony DeBarro is, I don't know if he's race control or if he's just going to sit out. I'm not sure. He hasn't disconnected or nothing like that, but we'll see if he actually takes the grid here.
And one other notable thing is the point standings show is Scott Eckrich is not here, and he is the points leader by about 24 points. Well, there's 15 cars tonight, so that's going to cut that lead down to 9 points if he doesn't show. And Anthony DeBarro isn't, if he doesn't race, then it's actually going to keep the lead for Scott Eckrich pretty constant. However, Thomas Bresci is third in the point standings. He's 30 back from the lead, so he can cut that points deficit in half and launch himself straight into the championship picture with only ISM Raceway and Homestead remaining. So Bresci's been picking up the slack lately. He dropped down a position last week at Talladega, but looking a lot stronger in recent weeks with the exclusion of Talladega. He's had 15 starts. He's had 4 top 5s and 10 top 10s. And that is the same number of top 10s as points leader Scott Eckrich. He's just short on top 5s by 5. But no penalty points. He's had a nice clean and green season. And he's actually completed more laps than our points leader Scott Eckrich. So with 200 laps on tap for tonight, we're going to grid him up and go racing for, I said it already, 200 laps. About an hour and 2 minutes if we go green from here to the end. That's a relatively short race despite the number of laps on the ticker, Will. So we head into night predictions for this evening. I think we're going to see a lot of clean and green racing and probably not a lot of bumping and banging.
Yeah, I think they'll say most of their bumping and banging for like the final 10, 15 laps, and then when it's time to get serious, I think everyone should be, knowing there's only 16 cars actually on the grid, they should be pretty reserved early in the run.
So Jeff Ward in that 89, he's been to victory lane this season. He's currently 5th in the point standings. He has 1 win to his name all the way back at Motegi, but 6 top 5s and 8 top 10s. It's been a consistent season, but he has to worry about his position tonight as well, because we know Greg Evans in that 46, he's mathematically already been eliminated, which is disastrous for him in this championship fight. But as we look on to next week at ISM Raceway, we're limiting 1 more driver to make that 4-car field for Homestead. And Thomas George is sitting 14 points behind, Jeff Ward is sitting about 8 points behind Thomas George. So looks like Ward's going to have to pick up the slack a little bit if he wants to compete in the season championship round at Homestead here in a couple weeks. But field getting ready to go racing. We mentioned the track conditions. Track temps jumped up a little bit to 99 degrees, partly cloudy, not a whole lot of wind. Pretty stagnant, cool day. The crowd is here packed in to watch these guys go at it. Now, I also think we might see a little bit more aggression out of the front couple of guys, because there's even if you make a mistake, you can't really fall that far, especially late in the going. We might see some moves that these guys typically wouldn't make, so I guess we'll see how this turns out here in a little while here. So that 24 Brassy, we've talked to him a bunch this season. He's been really consistent lately, with the exception of Talladega, but a pole for him late in the going. I don't think I have information on poles, but I do know that I mentioned that he actually has completed the most laps of anyone. I think he's the only guy to have completed every single lap of this season. Field rolls off.
That's an amazing feat, being able to complete every lap.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, consistency isn't always necessarily finishing well. It's just finishing, which we know that can be pretty difficult, especially with fields of 25 to 30 at places like Chicago and Texas, where we've seen high casualties in other leagues. But he's managed to pull his way through, and he's going to sit on pole for tonight and see if he can outrun this 89. I think this battle up front, these front 2 cars, are going to be really hard to beat tonight.
Yeah, the other one to watch would be Goodell. I know he's very good at short tracks. So in that 69, I'll be looking for him to be able to keep up with the leaders, as long as he keep his nose clean.
And a great qualifying effort for him. He'll be starting back in the 5th spot, which is one of his best starting positions all season. You mentioned he's good at short tracks. Well, that's where we are here tonight. Your starting lineup, Thomas Bressy on the front row, and that number 24 Chevy Camaro, alongside Jeff Ward in his Chevrolet, number 89. Moving back to row number 2, it's the 8 car, and that is, of course, Woody Mahan, who's had a pretty good season in that number 8 machine. New paint scheme on board this week. And then Greg Evans, who is in our championship pickle. Pace car rolls off through turns 3 and 4, 200 laps at the Paperclip. Thomas Bressy in that Rainbow Exalta 24 comes out of the final corner. Flagman drops that green flag, racing at Martinsville. Off into turn 1, side by side behind him. Greg Evans has that 69 of Cadell to his inside, but the 8 car didn't get off the corner very well, so Cadell is going to cross over and maybe take a look to the outside lane. Well, how about the outside here? Can you make that work on the initial starts and restarts, or is that just kind of a pipe dream there?
I think later in the run we'll be able to roll the center better on the high lane, but we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of experience running here in this new package, so tradition says it should be able to work later in the run with how this package works.
Thomas Bressy has the lead by about a half a second, but Jeff Ward did close in a little bit that time. He's 4.5 tenths back, and pretty calm so far. There's Tyler Hensley in the 44. He's not had the season that his teammate in the 24 has had, but he's certainly been a contender to win a couple races, and maybe tonight is his time to shine with a lower field count and having a pretty decent starting spot in 6th place. That's where he's running right now, and everyone's probably just going to try to settle in here. Already 4 laps complete. That's how quickly things happen here, William. So quick laps. And how about Greg Evans? He's already over the 89, maybe taking a look for second.
Oh, yeah, he's really starting to push it through there, driving hard on this early run.
And taking a look maybe down into turn 1. I think, again, a lot of people are going to just kind of take it easy for now. And as I say that, a bump to the rear bumper of the 89. So putting pressure on early is that 46 of Evans.
And definitely we're trying to make his presence known in Jeff's rearview mirror.
And honestly, at this point, what does he have to lose? I mean, he's really not going to be a championship contender, so you might as well just have fun and just try to win this race all over the back of the 89 of Jeff Ward, but no pressure other than that bump he gave him last time through. Thomas Bressi continues to be the quickest car on the racetrack, heading back midfield, kind of a bit of a stack up behind Cadell. There's Hensley, Thomas George, Norm Pelletier. Whoa, Cadell gets loose out of turn 4. Crossover by the 44. He goes to the outside.
And double filed back there now with them. Most of the field already strung out single file.
So Hensley working the outside of Cadell, and curious to see if that outside lane's going to work, but Cadell's struggling on the bottom right now. Ooh,
Cadell got the good run off, but could not hold it.
And the 44 drives in really hard into turn 1, overshot the corner.
Yeah, he sent it down there, and it did not stick. He's going to lose 2 spots there. It looks like Thomas George is going to get by as well.
So Hensley drops 2 spots after battling for 5th a moment ago. Throttles up, nowhere to go. How about for the lead, though? Jeff Ward closing back into the bumper of Thomas Bressi. So these front 3 have gotten close. Evans knocking on the rear bumper of that 89. He's already dented it pretty well, that left rear quarter panel.
Yeah, that gave a little bit of splitter damage from that, too. Aero's not important here, but you want to try to keep that splitter solid.
Yeah, there's really no reason to be bumping and shoving this early in the race, but I guess, like I said, you got nothing to lose. You might as well go for it. So he's putting pressure on. Passing can be difficult here. Sometimes you're going to have to dive bomb, but lap 10 of a 200-lap race, I don't know if I'd be putting myself in a dangerous position like that.
No, it is definitely too early to try to be working some guy. But granted, in Jeff's spot, if he keeps pressuring him, better off just let him go.
Oh,
and
Hensley all sorts of sideways out of turn 4. He's slow. I think he might have actually gone for a loop. Oh, he hit the curb on corner exit, just kind of got it with the left front tire and almost spun around, but he lost a bunch of positions. He's down in 11th now and being attacked from 12th place Gale Brooks.
Yeah, them curbs can be deadly if you hit them wrong.
And your leader
already catching the tail end of the field already.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that. I wonder if Rodden and Dulger started from, I mean, I don't think they started from the pits, but they've been awful slow. 21.6. They're both 2 seconds off the pace. Not sure if they didn't practice, but I see some big damage on the right front of that 88.
Yeah, and then the 33's got a lot of rear end damage, so I don't know if they cause a lot of contact to check themselves up or what.
I'd have to imagine that there was some sort of contact because they're so off the pace now, and here comes the leaders. Already 13 laps in, already bad days for that 88 and the 33 of John Rodden.
Yeah. And going the lap down early here can really make your day long.
And it's not going to be just 1 lap. It's going to be 10, maybe 15 by the time the night's over with how slow they're running right now. How about a new paint scheme for the 52 of Casey Shue? He's got a new Exalta scheme on. And also, I saw a bright orange car. I think that was the 25. No, it's not. It's the 92 of Christopher Matthews. This is a gorgeous scheme on that car. The orange and blue.
Yeah, almost. Is it
Fubo?
By Fubo? Yeah.
Fubo? Something like that. But it's a good-looking car. I think he ran that a couple months ago back. I think it was at maybe Chicagoland, but it's a good-looking car. He was a late entrant to the series. Was really good in the early parts, but hasn't really had the pace the last couple weeks to be competitive. But currently running 10th right now.
Yeah, on a side note, Anthony DeBarro looks like he is not going to start this race. He's not here, so Jeff Ward's got a lot to gain here by, Jeff or for Anthony and your points leader not being here. So
yep, Scott Eckridge. Yeah, so Thomas Bressi is really the one sitting in the catbird seat, as is Thomas George. So taking a look at the point situation, DeBarro is 24 back from Eckridge, so they're going to stay exactly where they are in relation to each other. But 30 points back from the leader is Thomas Bressi, who's only 6 back from DeBarro. So Bressi will move himself into second and close that gap on Eckridge's lead heading into the final 2 races and puts that 24 solidly in the championship picture. How about that 46 of Greg Evans, though, getting into second place and start knocking on the door for the lead here?
Yeah, we missed that pass, unfortunately, but Jeff mostly got tired of seeing him in his rearview mirror wearing him out and let him go. So he was slower just by a little bit that last lap. We'll see what they are at the line.
Battle here for 9th, Brandon Minto, Christopher Matthews, and Matthews is going to let the 44 of Hensley on by, so Hensley passes on through after getting hooked on the curb a few laps ago. So we're already 10% complete with this race, and believe it or not, 20 laps in of 200.
Yeah, laps definitely click by fast here, especially when you get green flag runs.
Hensley and Minto fighting for 9th now, and Minto in that 25 is head kind of pings of greatness this season, but hasn't found himself in victory lane. And that Barstool Sports Chevrolet Camaro running 11th right now. Doesn't see this. Martinsville is such a technical racetrack when it comes to driving. It seems like some guys just get it and some guys just don't. And I'd say the top couple really get it right now as we got a battle for the lead again. Greg Evans all over the back of the 24 of Thomas Bresci. 22 in, and the 46 is not taking any prisoners. And he leans on the 24 for the lead.
Let Jeff catch right back into with the leaders. 46 still looking low on there.
So Greg Evans going to muscle his way on by, and I don't think Thomas Bresci is really thrilled with how that pass is going to happen. Maybe it's too early to be pushing and shoving, but the 46 is just driving his way on through.
Yeah, if I was Bresci, I'd be definitely putting that in my memory bank for later in the race. You know, the rule of thumb is you race how you want to be raced. Oh, sorry.
All right, so the 46 off into first again, but he slips on corner exit, and Bresci powers up around the outside, and it's side-by-side for the lead, lap number 24, and the 89 is right on top of this mess as well.
Yeah, all this racing is also bringing Woody Mahan also into this picture, slowly lurking back out there.
Yeah, Woody Mahan in the 8 closing on this battle. He's run quicker by about 3/10, but these top two continue to fight. And for the 46, fighting for his championship chances, but the 24 needs to get every point he can tonight to close in on Scott Eckrich before he presumably returns next week at ISM Raceway. So Thomas Bresci needs to hold off. Oh, contact again! The 46 just doors him into turn 3, and Evans is on a mission, and he completes that pass.
Yeah, it's just so early to be racing that hard. And the 24 retaliates, shoves them down in there.
Yeah, so
and they're still leaning on each other.
They tangle again for the lead, and that was retaliation for sure, but it didn't work out for either of them. Jeff Ward drives right around the outside, and this is when you'd love to be a fly on the wall in the radio communications to see what that is like out there right now.
Yeah.
I honestly can't blame the 24, but I mean, that was just a mess when they got tangled down there in turn 1. Here's another look at it.
He definitely ended up the biggest loser in there, losing 2 spots in that.
Yeah, he drove in here pretty deep and knocked him out of the way, but the 46 saved it. 24 tried to get underneath, got hooked on the curb, and they just tangled, and that was just a mess from every conceivable angle. I don't think we're done seeing that fight just yet, though.
No, I can't wait for the 24 to get back to his bumper and see what else happens.
Norm Pelletier and Casey Shu fighting for 7th right now off into turn 3. Pelletier takes the spot in that TRD Toyota Camry. And Shu tried to cross him over, but the hole closed on corner exit. And Jonathan Cadell's worked his way into this group. Top 5 are all within about a second and a half, so with all that carnage up front, it's brought a couple drivers right back into the mix, including Cadell and the 9 of Thomas George.
Now, it does look like the 88 of Tyler Dolger did retire.
Yeah,
so.
Probably some suspension damage on that car. So presumably that was too much for the 88 to continue, and he is out of the race now. 14 cars left, running 13 on the lead lap. Bresci struggling to get the power down on that race car. I'm sure he's driving a little bit heated inside right now.
Yeah, you wonder how much of stuff they used up racing each other that hard.
31 laps complete. And again, only 56 minutes remaining, which sounds like a lot at Martinsville, and it is, but it's a relatively short race in comparison to what we've been doing the last couple weeks. Tyler Hensley has recovered up to 9th, but I think he burned a lot of his stuff off. As we head back up to Thomas George, who's P6 right now following Cadell.
Yeah. And still pretty much throw a blanket over the top 6. It's pretty much all within a straightaway length of each other there.
Cadell slipped out of turn 2, and the 9 of Thomas George heads on in. John Rodden down on pit lane, some significant damage to the rear bumper like we mentioned before. He might retire this thing considering how early this is to be on pit road. So unfortunately for John Rodden, it's going to be a short night as well. Back up front though, Jeff Ward leads this race by half a second. And last time through, he and Evans were separated by only about 7 thousandths of a second in lap time. So they're remarkably consistent. That time through, Evans was a touch quicker.
Yeah, they've been trading lap times back and forth. Surprised Greg has as much car as he does with how much he used it up there racing Thomas there.
And they're lucky they didn't get more damage than they did. They hit probably the slowest part of the corner. If they'd tangled on the straightaway, it could have been a lot worse. But then it's about a second back to Woody Mahan in the 8 car. Good run for him, and he showed lots of strength at Motegi a few weeks back. It hasn't really been a winning car the last few weeks, but trying to get himself back into form. Currently sitting in third. Jeff Ward leads this race by 0.3 of a second now, and Greg Evans is closing.
Yeah, and if I was Jeff with how hard Woody's or Greg's been racing, I would just let him go, let him use up his stuff, and worry about him the second half of the race. You know, no need to put your car in jeopardy this early.
Thomas George has gotten around Cadell, and he's going to set his sights now on the 24 of Thomas Bressi, was our pole sitter and got tangled up with Greg Evans about 20 laps ago. So the battle for third heating up as Woody Mahan is getting run down by that 24. So a 2-car battle for the lead and a 3-car battle for third.
Yeah, the 8-car really is falling off the pace here.
It's so easy to overdrive this this racetrack, especially now with a little bit more downforce. There's not really enough corner speed to use that downforce, but as a driver, you're trying to go through the corner quicker and quicker every lap, and the tires start giving up. You start burning them off, locking the tires, sliding them around, and you'll burn yourself out pretty quick. So Woody Mahan seems like he's struggling with that. But for the lead, Greg Evans, right on the back bumper of the 89 as they head into some more lap traffic. It's the 62 of Wilco just up the road.
Yeah, and Thomas is starting to put a lot of pressure on Bressi as well there in the 9. So 24 really needs to get going here.
Wilco gets up out of the way, and Ward and Evans head on through, closing on the 1/4 mark of this race, and still a ways off from pit stops, but that could really be the game changer in this race, is to have those pit stops really affect the outcome, and if anybody gets penalties, we've seen penalties be an issue in the past.
Yeah, getting on and off pit road here is very tricky. It's, you know, especially when you're doing under green flag, getting it woe down to that 35-mile-an-hour mark is very tricky. Yeah, I got a lot of wireless headsets. Our charge cable's not wanting to stay in. Sorry about that, guys.
All right, so the 89 of Ward continues. Falling off the lead a little bit. Evans lost about 1/10 that last time through. Thomas Bressi and Thomas George continue to fight for fourth, and George really diving deep on the brakes, almost locked up that left front tire. You saw it that time. Another thing to keep an eye on is brake heat. Now, we might not see a ton of that this afternoon with the relatively cool temperatures, but watch it. Oh, caution out, and we got one spinning. It's
here.
Pelletier on the front straightaway.
Not sure if that was a self-spin or...
Let's take a look here and find out. Was all by himself up in, looked like it was about 6th or 7th, and just looped it off corner exit. Real slow, real simple spin. No damage, though.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that was a very lazy spin. You don't see that too often here.
No, you don't. But 45 laps in, everyone's going to come off for tires and fuel. And this is where I said we could see some shakeup with the running order. So Thomas Bressi in that 24. He's probably going to jump up a spot or two here. I think he probably wants to be either 3rd or 5th on this restart. You don't want to be in that outside lane. So he might even wait a second to get himself lined up correctly. I think that 24 is the quickest car if he's out front. But that 46 is certainly quick as well. But he's not afraid to knock on people's doors either.
No, he's shown early in this race he's willing to intimidate and drive aggressive.
Christopher Matthews stays out on the racetrack. I'm not sure if this is just to lead a lap, but this late in the season, you know, points aren't really going to matter for the 92. But it looks like that's what his plan was, so he'll come on down pit road now and race off pit road. Oh, Mahan misses pit box, so he's going to lose a bunch of spots here. Greg Evans wins the race off pit road, and it looks like Bressi's going to come out. Ooh, he might have still be 4th. I think he is. Lost a spot to the 9 of Thomas George. So Greg Evans leads this race 47 laps in, about the quarter mark here. Seen some competitive racing up front, but it does seem like the 46 is the quickest. Now that he's got to lead, do you think he's going to be able to hang out and kind of drive away from Jeff Ward, or do you think Ward's going to put the bumper to him and get him back?
I think Jeff will kind of take it easy here. Let actually, you know, see where he's, do some learning on the 46 here, see where he's getting beat, and just try to keep up with him. Jeff's normally, from my experience, has been a pretty clean reserve driver, so he'll sit back and learn and just wait and relax.
I just want to see if we can talk to the 24 of Thomas Bressi real quick, so I'll pull him in and chat. Hey, Thomas Bressi, it's Kyle from SimTV. Got a copy?
I got you guys. What's up?
Well, so far tonight, been a little bit aggressive out there, and we saw you kind of get knocked out of the lead and try to retaliate on the 46, but just walk us through that incident there and what your plans are for the rest of the race.
Yeah, I didn't really take too kindly to getting drop kicked like quarter of the way through the race, not even, so just send him a little message so he'll know what's coming, I guess. But got a good piece, just I think I burn up the tires being aggressive there, trying to hold him off before we got together, but I think we got a good piece, so we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll let you get back to work. Thanks, Thomas.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so that was Thomas Bressi, and yeah, I think, I agree with him. It was probably a little bit early to be leaning on each other, but he leaned back, so he's not going to take anything tonight. Pace car pulls off. Greg Evans retains the lead, or grabs it rather, under that caution sequence. Lap number 50 of 200. And 46 will lead them off of turn 4. Green flag back in the air, racing again at the Paperclip.
Yeah, better start for Jeff there on that restart. Didn't fall back as much as he did last time. Still going to get a lot of pressure from the 9, though, on exit.
Off into turn 3, Cadell in the 69 putting pressure on. Ooh, Gail Brooks up over the curb messily in turn 3. There's Woody Mahan now side by side. That's Bressi and Thomas George. Bressi trying to work the outside lane. That's a tricky move to make, but trying to make it stick.
Yeah, I think Bressi's definitely got the better car than 9. He should be able to make this work.
And he does.
Finally gets it there going at 3.
Now can Jeff Ward put the pressure on Greg Evans? We've seen Greg Evans be really aggressive passing drivers. I wonder if the 89 will return that favor. And Jeff Ward hasn't been one to lean on people this year really at all, but I don't think he'd be afraid to so far with the way the 46 has been racing everyone else.
Yeah, but I'd say the 46 has roughed up him and Thomas pretty well, so I said he'll keep it in his memory bank, but he'll use it later.
Deep dive on the brakes there, lap number 53. And the 89, slipped a little bit on corner exit. And how about Thomas Bressi creeping back into this picture from behind? Was about as quick as the leader last time through.
Yeah, Jeff's really trying to dime that corner, trying to get the run off there. So it looks like he's going to go up there and race him hard here.
Very even, these top two. Last time by, Evans was quicker by 0.03. But Ward keeping that gap close. And he's rolling the entry so much better than the 46. And off the corner, I think that's where the 46 beats him.
Yeah, last couple times, Jeff has just got a little bit loose there on exit.
Now Bressi, that gap again beginning to close, was 0.2 quicker and was the second fastest car on track that lap. Everyone else single filed out, but the battle for the lead continues. These top two. I knew the 89 would be one to beat. I thought the 24 would be the one up here, but Greg Evans has muscled his way into the lead and got the lead on the pit stop sequence and trying to get a gap on the 89, but Ward still driving in so much deeper and not letting the 46 get away.
Yeah, I wonder driving in that deep how quick he's going to burn off his tires doing that.
And it could be, I mean, we've seen the tires be very important at pretty much every racetrack, especially on this new package. A lot of tire wear, 2 to 3 seconds over the course of a run. And tonight we're already 0.3 off our best times, and we're only about 5 or 6 laps into this run. You see Bressi just bounce off the wall out of turn 4, nothing major. But look at the 89 entering high and exiting low, trying a little bit different line than the 46. And behind them, Gail Brooks really up out of the group in turn 2.
And to get that good run, you almost kind of got to dime the corner just a little bit just to get able to get that run off on the guy.
Norm Pelletier, after his spin, recovers up into 9th. But up at the top spot, that 89 is like a mosquito in the ear of that 46, just not letting him get away. Look how hard he drives in up on the high lane, then exits low.
He found something there. He finally got that run off he was looking for.
46 slipped under power as well. Leading lap number 60, the 89 putting a lot of pressure on, and the whole top 5 is closing on this 46, so it seems like whoever's out front is at a disadvantage, and here comes the 89 back to the inside, gets the nose underneath, and he's going to go back to the lead. Oh, contact between the top two. I think Greg Evans is willing to die on this pedestal tonight. I don't think he's going to give this one up easy.
I don't think so. He's definitely trying to show that his car is more of a weapon than it is a tool.
And I think some of this is frustration. I mean, again, 9 races out of 17. He won last year. Winless this season, some frustration for the reigning champion. And he only has 3 chances left to win a race and will probably have no chance to win the championship. So I think he's going to do everything he can. This is probably his best shot with the car count as low as it is tonight. This is his best opportunity to win this race. Caution.
Oh.
Christopher Matthews in turn 4. Very similar to what we saw with the 56. Here's another look at it. About 45 minutes worth of racing left and out of turn 4. 92 just gets on the power too quick. And Gentle mows into the fence. Now my question for you is, William, do we see pit stops this time through?
I would think so. I'd be surprised if it didn't. Some of the guys in the back may try it just to stay out.
Ooh, wow, the 89 almost didn't make it. But the 8 of Woody Mahan stays out. And he's going to be the only one. Everyone else comes in. On to pit lane for the second time tonight. And this race, 65 laps in of 200, about 45 minutes left if we go green to the end. But we've had 2 self-spins so far tonight that have caused yellows and slowed our progress. And now we see where the 24 comes out. Greg Evans off of pit lane. Ooh, that was close.
Close.
I think
Jeff got him.
I think the 89 got him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jeff got him.
Yeah, he looks like he did. So now the other question is that 8 car, it looks like he's going to stay out. So he's going to just continue to run. And that really throws an interesting mix in here because Greg Evans will be lined up behind the 8 and Jeff Ward will be on the outside lane. So maybe he should have jumped on the brakes, maybe expecting that 8 car to stay out. But can't really predict that. So really Ward is going to be the loser on this whole sequence.
He might be, but we'll see. I mean, Greg's starting behind the guy with 20-lap old tires here.
But how much are the tires worth? I mean, we haven't really seen. This is the first time we've seen old tires versus new tires and how much they're going to be worth on this new package at Martinsville. So curious how that's going to affect leader Woody Mahan.
I think the biggest thing he's got to be careful on this restart not to spin the tires. That's going to be the biggest scare. Once he gets rolling, he'll be all right. But on that initial, giddy up, he'll have to be careful.
Well, we have seen that older tires do seem to be pretty slippery. That's why we've had those 2 self-spins out of turn 4. So maybe you're right about the tire spinning. I mean, typically you wouldn't really be worried about spinning tires at a track like Martinsville because you're geared so low. But you're restarting in second gear, and second gear only takes you to about 100 miles an hour. So, I don't know. I think we're going to see something interesting here. So for the restart, pace car lights will extinguish this time through. The 8 car chooses the inside lane, and Jeff Ward is going to have to try. Honestly, I think if he gets a good restart, this 89 might walk away as the leader if he can just carry that momentum around the outside lane, but it's so difficult to do that.
And then if you're Woody, you got to be careful. The 46 has been driving very aggressive early in this run. You got to wonder how patient he'll be with him if the 8 doesn't go quick.
Pace car pulls off. 8, 89, 46, 9, 24 your top 5. And the 8 of Woody Mahan leads him back to the green. Green flag back in the air. The 8 car takes him down. And a strong restart by the 8. The 89 slips into the inside lane. Well done. The 46 turns him.
Just turn. Oh,
and the 24,
huge
damage there, and we're not done wrecking yet. And that 24 car is destroyed. So an opportunistic move by the 46. Now he's just turning into a wrecking ball at this point. But let's go back and watch that, but we get a second opinion here, but we'll look from up above. So the 89 slots into second here. The 46 just gets down in here. Gap opens. He just runs him over there. Not really much to say about that one.
Oh, yeah. It's just too early to try sticking your nose in there. I mean, he had maybe barely any room to stick his nose there. It's too early to be trying to race that hard.
I mean, was there a gap? Maybe, but I just don't know if he forced his way in there. Oh, he was already a little bit sideways. I don't know if it was intentional, but it was certainly not something that you expect out of a reigning champion. So the 46 comes down pit lane. If I was race control, I'd be definitely looking at that as an EOL or something. But caution out for the third time tonight, and that 24 of Thomas Bresci. I guess the only saving grace is that at a place like Martinsville, the aero doesn't matter, but that car is still not going to be as good as it was when it was clean.
Definitely not. It won't affect him much in the short run, but if we do get a long run, that's when he'll definitely feel it. I mean, it looks like he got to keep all the fenders on it, but that's definitely heavy damage, nose damage there.
So into the pit box for the 24, and the 89 also as well. So two of our fastest cars already taken out. Woody Mahan looking at this, loving that, because the more heat cycles we get on those tires, the less of a advantage those newer tires will be for everyone behind. So the top 6 stay out. Christopher Matthews, who's played some strategy earlier tonight, he stays out on the racetrack and gains a bunch of spots.
Yeah. And it looks like the 96 or 60 or 69 also of Goodell suffered some heavy damage in that too.
Oh, that's a real shame.
So a lot of your top contenders have been.
Does the 24 have a front nose clip for you? It's missing for me.
Let's see. 24. Nope, he would be in the modified class.
Okay, just want to make sure, because sometimes it doesn't sync correctly, but it also appears to me that that left front tire is bowed in pretty heavily. I'm not really sure if it's affecting his steering, but he's coming back down for more damage repair. And he needed to have a good night tonight to close that gap on Eckrich and DeBarro, because they're both not here. So he's the highest driver in the standings that is currently at the racetrack. He does have a 14-point gap over Thomas George, so even if he were to crash out now, he would still be at least second heading into the next race, but not a great result for the 24 if this were to put a detriment on his night. So Woody Mahan retains the lead, lap number 75. And Greg Evans heading back into pit lane with Gil Brooks. One to green here, lights are out on the pace car. And I just noticed that new flagman holds up the flag constantly, which is really cool, rather than waving it under the yellow. That's pretty neat. So he waves it when the caution flies, and then he just holds it when it's out for a couple laps. That's pretty neat. John,
yeah, that's a nice little addition they put in there.
Yeah. John Wilco is sitting in 5th. He was a lap down here earlier in the night, so he's recovered. Jeff Ward is now a lap down. Thomas Bresci catching back up to the field. Green flag back in the air for the leaders. And Norm Pelletier in 3rd place now. And I'm looking at this race thinking we might have a first-time winner tonight. Woody Mahan, Pelletier, Casey Shue could get a victory. There's Greg Evans now. I think he's serving a penalty. But we could see a first-time winner.
Yeah, and this race has really been turned on its head with the leaders taking each other out like that.
Thomas George to the inside. He took a look. And Thomas George does have a victory this season. It was only a couple weeks back, and the 8 car's in the fence out of turn 2. Here comes the 9 to the inside.
It looks like he's going to get that run off he needs to clear him.
And he got it. And a cloud has come over the speedway and is going to lower the temperature a little bit, but Norm Pelletier sitting in 3rd place. A week ago at Talladega, had a pretty poor run, got involved in an accident, and recovering for one of his only top 5 runs of the season. This is a great run for the 56. We'll see if he can capitalize on it. Tyler Hensley in 5th, John Wilco running in 6th, and Jeff Ward a lap down after starting 2nd in this race, being a contender for the win. Thomas Bresci all the way back in 10th, trying to recover what he could out of this night.
Yeah, it's been a great recovery for Norman there. You brought out that first caution with that lazy cell spin. Got lucky and didn't damage the car, and it looks like he's on his way up to the front now.
It got really dark out there on the racetrack, so the temperature is probably going to fall. Take a look at the conditions. It's already fallen 3 degrees from the start. We expect that to continue to fall. Woody Mahan hanging on to 2nd very well, but Thomas George all out in front. No competition at the moment, but Pelletier closing in on that 8 car for 2nd place, and Casey Shue trying to put pressure on Hensley, all sorts of sideways out of turn 4, and the 89 taking advantage to go around. Almost to halfway here, about 38 minutes remaining in this race. And Hensley side by side with Ward, not for position, no need to bang your car up here. But Pelletier, a great run in this number 56 Toyota Camry, all over the back of that Camaro for 2nd. He's got fresher tires than the 8 car does, so he should be able to make pretty quick work of him once he gets there.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised with Woody there being able to hold as well as he has. Been 36 laps since his last pit. Still holding on pretty strong.
I think that answers our question. If you want to stay out later on old tires, maybe you can make that work. Oh, car way loose out of turn 2, and that is the 69 of Jonathan Cadell. All sorts of sideways, and we'll take a quick look at that. I don't know if he had some help. Nope, just got loose. It's easy to do.
So easy to do with this package here on exit.
Oh, wow.
Think you can.
89 of Jeff Ward got sideways underneath the 44. And now it's the 46 and 89 side by side. The guys that got together earlier. Ward continues to slip and slide. Now he's right next to the guy that took him out earlier. Will he retaliate? No, he slots in behind.
And that's a big
there
thing.
it
He
is.
doesn't want to retaliate too hard because they're battling right now for the lucky dog if a caution were to come out.
I don't think they're done quite yet. The 89 gave him a knock, the bumper, to say I don't appreciate that, but the 89 is struggling on speed right now. He's lit up and melted those rear tires off, and the 46 will drive away. And Christopher Matthews in pit lane. He's got some significant damage. Didn't see how he got that, but he's off the racetrack.
Yeah, looks like we're going to have 12 cars left running. That might be another retiree for the night.
So this is the 92. This is a couple laps after the restart. Let's take a look here and see what happened. I think it was the 62 of Wilco was all out of shape in turn 3, and Wilco spun right in front of the 92 and pretty much grenaded that engine in that 92 car. So a retirement for the 92. Caution out, and Mahan spun around.
Might have wheel hopped that into 2, it looked like.
I
Or
think
into 3.
turn 3. Just got in there too hot, wheel hopped it, and spun around really early in the corner. And the 56 of Pelletier just scrapes on by before he hits the safer barrier. So this race has gone south very quickly.
Yeah, and he almost had it saved, and it just hooked back right on him. It's a tough break.
All right.
Lost.
Well, it's going to give the free pass, I believe, to Greg Evans, as we have a split decision here on pit lane.
Yeah, it looks like our top 3 are going to stay out.
Yeah, and again, after seeing the 8 car, I don't think that's a bad decision. I just don't know if that's the best decision. We did see the 8s just spin out, but he didn't have bad pace. Just wasn't, just didn't last very long. All right, so Gale Brooks looks like he's going to retain the lead here. He's pit 4 times. We've had guys that have pit 5 times in 90 laps at Martinsville. That's an interesting stat.
That definitely is. I mean, I get why the 65 has pitted multiple times now, or 69, I'm sorry. AT of O has a different number on him. But some of them guys have received early damage, so I get why their numbers are starting to skyrocket up there.
So Norm Pelletier is going to be restarting second. This is a great opportunity for this driver. Hasn't found victory lane yet in fuel competition, but he is looking so solid tonight, and his car is squeaky clean. If he can just get by this, I think he's faster than the 71 at Gil Brooks. He's just got to manage to keep everyone else behind him. But the 46 of Greg Evans is in 9th, and his car is all banged up. And I just don't see him finishing this race at the rate he's going. He's made so many enemies. I just don't know if he'll make it. Jeff Ward, he's back on the lead lap as well.
Yeah, it looks like Ward's going to take the wave around here, so we'll see how bad his car is hurt from that caution.
And Thomas Bresci up into 7th. I don't think he's had his chance at the 46 just yet. So we'll get the 1 to green this time through. The lights will extinguish on the pace car. Flagman holds that flag straight up, and we'll double file him up again. The 89 is going to get his lap back around. He took the wave around here. Now Woody Mahan is a lap down. So all the guys that have... I think the lead is a curse tonight, William. It seems like every time someone gets in the lead, they get taken out or spun.
Yeah, a lot of self-inflictedness going on with the leaders there. I'm surprised they've been racing that hard, but winding down to the season, you want to get that win in before the season ends.
Well, the 71 chooses the outside lane for the restart, and maybe to help out the 56 of Norm Pelletier. Green flag back in the air, and they probably had a deal here to let the 71 back in line, but he doesn't need it. The 71 is in back already. Cadell putting pressure on the 25 of Minto for P5. 44 and 52, that's Hensley versus Casey Shue. They're side by side off into turn 3 for third, and the 44 drives his way on through. Now the 24, Bresci, going for 6th on the inside of Thomas George with a car that has looked and seen better days.
Definitely, he's seen better days with that car. But it's Martinsville. You can make a junk race car, fast. All you got to do is keep your consistency, and it'll go.
Bit of an accordion effect up towards the front. Brooks misses the corner. Here comes Pelletier to the inside now. Lap number 94 closing on halfway. The 56 of Pelletier to the lead down in turn 1, but he overdrives it. Here comes the 44 of Hensley to the inside now. Drag race down the back straightaway off into turn 3 on the binders deep. The 44 versus 56 side by side. Pelletier can't get it rotated, and Hensley takes the lead. Pelletier
Ooh, he chopped the 52 off there. Gave him a little bit of a break.
It was awful close there between him and the 52, and Casey Shu allows it, but I think that 52 is a bit quicker at the moment. How about Cadell? A little bit of a mess on that race car, but running 4th at the moment, right behind Casey Shu. The dramatic battle up in front has ended for now. The 69 way outside in turn 2, and Thomas George takes 4th place away, and Gil Brooks is struggling right now, dropping down the order. Brennan Minto closing. There's Greg Evans trying to fight his way back up towards the front.
Yeah, I think Brooks didn't have much space to begin with, and then him being on these older tires is not helping him much.
So way up the racetrack he goes again, and it looks like Jeff Ward is closing in on getting this position as well. Remember, Ward needs all the points he can get. There's some contact back here as well. Ward and the 24 of Bresci need to take advantage of the fact that the 2 championship leaders are not here. They need to do everything they can, and for both of these guys, it's been a little bit of a crazy night.
Yeah, some of it not their own doing, some of it a little bit of, you think they try to settle in now a little bit and say, hey, we got a great opportunity to catch on the 2 guys in front of us, set ourselves up for Homestead.
Tyler Hensley leads this race now. Norm Pelletier was about even with him on lap time last time through, only separated by a couple hundredths of a second. Casey Shu in 3rd. The JT Motorsports guys looking strong with Hensley in 1st and Casey Shu in 3rd, Bresci in 6th. This is a great run for that team. Hensley in probably the best position of the season that he's been in to get a victory.
And then we got Thomas, Greg, and Jeff all running 6th, 7th, and 8th, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when they get near each other again.
We're going to keep an eye on that, but battle for 3rd now. Thomas George trying to get around Casey Shu. And I think the 9's going to have this, and he's on through. He's loose and sideways down in turn 1. Slips up over the curb. Contact there for a moment. Crumples the left front fender. Cadell all over the 52. He dives to the inside now. And then here comes the 24 and the 46. Contact in front of them. And I know for a fact that 24 Bresci is not thrilled with the 46. I don't know how easy this is going to be for that 46 to get on by.
Yeah, that 24 might get a little wide there, or, be cheeky, let him go, and then just send it into, the next corner.
For now, he keeps it clear and gets by the 52 of Shu, who's dropped down the order quite a bit. It's still Hensley up front by 1.4 seconds. We're past halfway. Only 31 minutes of this race remaining. And now Greg Evans, who has some bloodstains on that front bumper from knocking guys out of the way earlier, is back on the bumper of the 24. And he made enemies with him early, and I don't think these guys have made up just yet.
No, it's going to be a while before they say, we could be friends again, because there's sure no love lost between them 2 tonight.
Pelletier was way high in turns 1 and 2 and let Thomas George on through for 2nd. So now it's Hensley, George, Pelletier, Cadell, Bresci are top 5, and Evans putting pressure on the 24 for that 5th spot.
And Shu's not laying back either. The guy's got around him, but he's doing a good job of keeping pace with him.
Yeah, Shu is, after kind of having a slip up the last couple laps, he's found himself back in 7th and putting pressure on the 46 of Evans, who takes a look to the inside. And Bresci left the door open for a 2nd. I think it's almost like the 24 is inviting that 46 to give him another bump, just to give him a reason to take him out again. Definitely not done yet. Last year's champion versus the driver that could be this year's champion. In that 24 of Thomas Bresci, he could close the gap immensely on the championship leaders tonight, and he only has 2 races left. to get himself in position to win it all at Homestead here in a few weeks. But Greg Evans all over the back of the 24, down into turn 1, the 46 side by side with the 24. Bressi leaves him the room. I don't think this is all this is going to be, though.
No, they're definitely going to race each other close here.
Side by side, clean for now. On the brakes. 46 is dancing on eggshells around this car at the moment.
Yeah, they're giving each other plenty of room so far.
Oh, there's some contact. The
Oh, there we
24
go.
is going to get loose again, and I think that's going to be the final straw for the 24. I think he's had enough. Casey Shue takes a look to the inside, and here comes the 24 down into the corner. He swings and misses
He missed
off in
it.
turn 1.
Wow.
And that's just only going to add to the frustration for Bressi.
Yeah, you hate to see when they miss with...
He tried to Matt Kenseth him there and just couldn't get the grip, and now he's all sorts of sideways,
Oh,
and there it goes.
There he goes.
Caution flies.
The only good news is here, he didn't hit nothing else. So no more insult to injury, just a self-spin.
Bressi really needed a good night tonight to take advantage of the fact that our championship leaders aren't here, but it's just been nothing but a mess. And all 3 of the incidents that he's been involved in, well, actually, I guess 4 if you include this wreck, so 3 of the 4 have been off the bumper or because of the bumper of the 46 of Greg Evans. So you can't blame him for the aggression that he's showing back to the 46. I think it's totally warranted, but the execution was not great on that attempt to take him out here. Here's another look at it. Took a good look at it, just missed. I think if the 52 of Casey Shue had given him a little bit more room to get down, he would have had a better shot at it.
Yeah, Shue was brave. He's, you know, I'm sure he's known through voice chat that those two have been playing rough with each other. You know, that was brave of Shue to stick his nose in there like that.
So pit road is a busy place once again.
Yeah, it looks like everybody came down except for the...
20.
Is the 8 down pit road?
Oh, 24
No,
is...
the 8 stayed out.
Oh, wow, again. Interesting here. So Tyler Hensley wins the race off pit road, I think.
Or was that the 8 getting a lucky dog around?
Could,
Looks like that was a
no, he was on the lead lap. But he's going to come in now.
Wow.
So the running order is all mixed up. As we have had kind of an eventful race so far. The first 50 or 60 laps were relatively calm. We had 1 or 2 cautions. And since then, we've had our fair share. We're up to 5 now with 20 caution laps and 115 race laps with 11 lead changes. And we've not had anyone lead for more than about 15 or 20 laps before they either get wrecked or spun out or make a mistake.
Yeah, so much for it being not eventful here.
Yeah, I thought this race would go clean and green, but we've just seen, really, it goes very south. But we have 85 laps to go, about 28 minutes of racing remaining. Tyler Hensley leads this race. His teammate in the 24, Bressi, has had an awful night. That car is just all sorts of torn to pieces. And Greg Evans, who has been everyone's enemy tonight, back up to 4th place.
Yeah, he'll be starting on the outside line here, it looks like, so... You know, he'll be aggressive, trying to get back down to the bottom as quick as he can.
And again, I mentioned earlier that I think for the 46, it's just the frustration of having a spectacular season last year and this year just not having what he wanted and just trying to get one victory before the season's out. And this is his best opportunity with the field count as low as it is. And just tonight, he's taken so many people out with him that I think the frustration levels for the entire field are rising up. And we get the 1 to green here. The lights extinguish on the pace car yet again. And Hensley chooses the inside lane. How about Norm Pelletier hanging out here? He is in a great spot. If he just keeps doing what he's doing, he could end up winning this race. But I think I like the 44 right now. He's been solidly consistent, and now that he's gotten to the lead and just drove away last time, we'll see if he can do it again. Clouds over the speedway here at the Paperclip. Lap 118, pushing and shoving on the restart. Green flag back in the air. Was that the 46 on the 9?
Yeah, 46 just very, you know, amped on that restart.
Yes,
So.
you can say that. Down to the inside again, to the inside of the 56, backs out at the last second. But the 9 of Thomas George didn't get a great restart. 56 Norm Pelletier takes that 2nd place away.
And you can definitely tell Greg is not that intensity that he's brought all race go away just yet.
Oh, I think it's only going to get crazier from here. Gale Brooks high and slow out of turn 2. Almost got into the wall, but backed out at the last possible second. So Hensley trying to drive away now. Pelletier, the next one on the chopping block right in front of that 46.
And I think if you're Tyler, you want that 56 to hold him up as much as you can, because I think once Greg gets around, it's only a matter of time before he's on Tyler's bumper there.
He's been on a mission tonight, for better or for worse. Caution out again, and this time it's the 62 of Wilco on the back straightaway. So our 6th caution tonight. This has really spiraled downhill very quickly from what was a very clean race at the beginning.
It is, and he just did it all on his own there.
Now, we've seen this. I think 3 of our 6 cautions have been self-spins and just gassed it up and crashed out of turn 2. There's Bressie. Finally got the front clip put back on that race car. But now this puts Greg Evans in the 3rd spot for the restart, and that puts Pelletier at the disadvantage. There's Jonathan Cadell heading down pit lane. All right, predictions. We have 80 laps to go. I think you've seen enough to know now what everyone's intentions are. Pick a number. Who do you think's going to win this race?
I mean, I think it's going to go on Greg as long as he can find a way to keep all the fenders on the car. You know, he's been by far one of the fastest cars on track. Most of his other co-competitors, I think, have too much to be able to compete. So I think it's on Greg as long as he doesn't, you know, get ruffled up too much harder.
I'm just worried about if the 46 is going to be able to finish this race, if the guys he's been, running into retaliate against him. We saw Bressie try, and what Bressie tried to do, if he had completed it, that 50 or that 46 would not be left running in this race. That's how hard of a hit he was trying to go for, but he missed, and I don't think we're done yet. And it's so late in the season now that I think someone's willing to, even a guy like Bressie, I think if he doesn't run well tonight, that 24, realistically, his shot at the championship is essentially gone. So I think what that means for Bressie is penalties be damned. You got to go out there and protect yourself.
Definitely, you got to show, you got to earn your respect out there. And
so looks like we have Tyler Hensley leading this race, Norm Pelletier in 2nd, Greg Evans in 3rd, Thomas George in 4th, Casey Shue in 5th, Jeff Ward, he's worked his way back to 6th after leading the most of the early part of this race, and got turned around in turn 1 and 2 by the 46 and had an incident with the 24 during that whole ordeal as well. Finds himself on the outside of row 3 for I would call this a late race restart, only about 25 minutes left.
yeah, it's definitely start getting crunch time. Bumpers are probably going to start getting used a little bit more here by some of the guys that got clean cars, trying to prove that they got something.
Thomas Bressie back on pit lane again, and again, you just have the frustration here ramping up for the 24. This could have been a night to really eat into that lead in the points, and I don't think that's going to happen tonight unless he manages to stay away from all the carnage that's probably about to happen here. Again, let's just update you that today iRacing added the green-white checkered finish rules. However, the Fuel Racing League will not be using the green-white checkered rules until the 2019 B season that starts up later in the summer, so they will not come into effect tonight. So typical iRacing overtime rules, which essentially means that the caution comes out with less than 5 to go, the race is over. So 75 laps to the end of this race at the green flag. We only have 11 cars still running after what's been a messy late race. The 44 Hensley in control, takes it back to the green, racing again at the Paperclip.
Tyler gets another great restart.
And he gets all clear. The 56 of Pelletier did not get a great restart. Shue drives in the 89 deep into turn 3. They were 3 wide for a second. They tried to do that, but couldn't make it work. Cadell trying to grab that 5th spot away. But he's got 2 cars to get by before he can get there. Greg Evans up into 2nd place. He's following the 44 Tyler Hensley now. And this is going to get spicy for the lead.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before Greg gets around him. Whether he does it clean or not is, a story to be told.
So off into turn number 1 now. Cadell taking a look to the inside of Pelletier. This is for 6th place now. Looks like Cadell's going to get the spot. They're still fighting side by side. One car way high in turn 3. It's the 9 of Thomas George, and there goes the 89 of Jeff Ward around to the inside. Greg Evans for the lead, down to the inside in turn 1. Side by side for lead on the back straight. coming back to 70 laps to go. The 46 on the inside of the 44. Teammates with the 24. Not sure if there's any bad feelings between these two just yet, but the 46 think he's going to be able to complete this pass down here in turn 1. The 44 holds him in tight. Evans back to the lead here on lap number 130.
Yeah, I think Greg's going to now check out.
Gets the lead away, and I think you're right. He's probably the quickest car left on the racetrack.
Oh, Jeff into the wall there on exit of 4.
There's a light scrape. He'll probably be okay. Casey Shue, Jonathan Cadell fighting for 5th. But that 46 beginning to stretch it out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Jeff does have anything for him, but...
I think Jeff Ward, last time through, he was the quickest car on the racetrack. So maybe the 89 has some pace left in the tank here. He's just got to get by Tyler Hensley. Remember, we're running out of time. Only about 20 minutes left, so he's got to dispose of this 44 rather quickly. The 24, Bresci.
That is a good way to do it. Self-mistake there by the 44.
I just cut away, but we'll take a quick look at this. And it looks like did he just throttle up too quick? Hooked the curb on exit.
Curb hopped it. Yep.
So he'll continue, but he drops all the way to 7th now. And up the road, that's Cadell and Casey Shue. These guys have been side by side a lot, but Cadell gets that spot, completes the pass, and we'll move on. Back up towards the front. Greg Evans leads this race, but Ward is the quicker car right now. He's closing in. It's a half a second gap right now.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens if Jeff gets to that bumper. I think he's definitely going to use it.
I wouldn't blame him at this point. Lap 135. They're taking off really quickly now. And so is Jeff Ward, a 19.158 to Greg Evans' 19.290. Out of turn 2, he's closed that gap down to 2 car lengths. Make it 1 down in turn 3. Yeah. He's coming. These two guys got together about 100 laps ago down in turn number 2. It was the 46 to the inside, shoved his way to a small hole and knocked the 89 sideways, who then got drilled by the 24 of Thomas Bresci. That was a long time ago, but the driver's memories, even longer.
And to think they were a lap down at the end of that whole melee there, both of them. So to see him already back to the front like this is quite a surprise.
The 46 is winless this season. Jeff Ward has 1 win to his name from Motegi a few weeks ago. Greg Evans won 9 of 17 races last year en route to his first championship in the Fuel Racing League, but will not be able to repeat this season because of his position in the point standings. He's all the way down in 6th, and tonight we eliminate 1 driver from the Fuel Finals, those drivers that are lit up in yellow in your ticker. And Greg Evans is the one on the chopping block, mathematically eliminated from the start of the race, but Jeff Ward is the next one on that list, so he's fighting for his championship chances next week at ISM Raceway, and winning this race tonight would certainly put him well on the track to making it to that last round.
Yeah, it definitely would.
The progress is slowed for the 89. He's still lapping just a touch quicker that time. The 46 did beat him.
Yeah, they seem to be leveled off now, trading a little bit here and there. I don't know if Jeff is just sitting back trying to size him up now, or if he just is used up his stuff now.
Greg Evans pounding that throttle to the firewall at the exit of turn 4. We've seen him kind of overdrive earlier in the race on corner exit and slip and slide, but he seems really controlled right now. And begins to stretch that gap out. It was a 10th quicker than the 89 that lap through. Ward in high and fast. Maybe overdrove that corner.
Yeah, that's a little bit higher than you want to do if you want to try to diamond in that corner off.
Throttles up
right
again.
There's more how you want to do that if you want to diamond it. That little bit high, low.
Greg Evans.
Paid off, he's
starting
a
to
little
pull
bit quicker, but...
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but...
Yeah,
Greg Evans, they're trading blows back and forth, but it seems like the 89's trying a little bit harder than the 46, and it's you see him sliding there on exit. He's laying down black marks at the exit of every corner. And just trying to close that gap back up, and he's running out of time, just over 50 laps. Where is Thomas Bresci? He's back in 8th. And there was only 15 cars that took the green flag, so he'll get about 7 points. But that'll only put him about equal, maybe 1 point better than DeBarro, who also didn't start the race, including Scott Eckrich. So Bresci will just barely, as he's running, get himself into second in the points, but he'd still be about 23 back from Scott Eckrich.
And only the top 10 now are left on the lead lap with John Wilco's troubles there, so.
Bresci gets by Hensley for 7th. So the 44 drops down a spot. He was probably one of the drivers that could have won this race, but kind of put himself out of it by slipping on the curb a little while ago, closing in on 50 laps to go. Now the difference between the leaders, 0.6 of a second. Greg Evans has found another gear and is beginning to stretch that lead out now.
Yeah, but it looks like this is now Greg's race to lose here. I don't think Jeff's got anything for him unless we get another series of cautions here to get some fresh rubber going.
Well, let's keep an eye on the laps that we've done since the last time we pitted. We've got, for the guys that have been out there the least long, it's about 24 laps. For the guys that have been out there the longest, including our leaders, it's about 34 laps. So those tires will begin to wear out. We've seen a lot of self-spins tonight. Ooh, Pelletier, all sorts of sideways out of turn 4. He saves it, but that's what I'm talking about. You know, you get all slippy and slidey and late in the run, you're just going to spin yourself out. That might throw a caution late in the going here.
Yeah, he almost did a repeat what he did to bring out that first caution of the race. So, good to see he learned how to save it, though, after that first run.
So Bresci closing in on Pelletier now, and Bresci trying to make something out of nothing. And won the pole for this race. And the 56 slips up. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Half a second between the leaders. That gap is starting to come back down. Pelletier slips again. Bresci trying to work his way back towards the top 5 to maximize the points that he probably should have had. Oh, the 56 slips. He's out of control. He spins. And caution out with 50 laps to go.
I do not think that was a caution Greg wanted to see there.
Absolutely not. And so caution out again. Brennan Minto did a great job getting on the brakes to miss it. But Pelletier just locked him up. Wheel hopped off into the corner. And, oh, you can actually see it happening. If we go back, watch the rear tires on the 56. Watch him bounce up and down as he gets into the corner and just loses the grip. Spins around, backs it into the fence. Very typical Martinsville wreck. But with 50 to go, I don't think we're done seeing the cautions happen yet.
Unfortunately not, especially you figure Jeff owes Greg a good shot here. You got to think now, you know, maybe DeGressi gets back up there now. That might have been the caution he needed. It looks like he got all his damage fixed up, so...
Yeah, Bresci's car is looking about the best it's been. I would almost have tried a 2-tire stop here just to get some track position. Greg Evans wins the race off pit road. Ward gets 2nd. George 3rd. Cadell gets off 4th. And Bresci's going to get 6th here. But he's going to have his teammate lining up next to him that might help him out on the restart. But Jeff Ward is in a great position now with some fresh for Mr. Feelgoods and might have an opportunity to knock the 46 back out of the way. We're not done yet, folks.
No, this is definitely Jeff's best chance to get his vengeance here. He's proven he's got the speed on the short run to hang with Greg.
Is anyone else like Thomas George? He's kind of been hanging out here all night. Just some very little damage to the right rear of that car, but other than that, that car is spotless, spick and span, and he might have a say in this race before it's over. This has been the craziest comers and goers race I think I've seen, and it's not comers and goers based on pace. It's just guys getting to the lead and then getting spun or spinning, and we've seen really no one dominate this race tonight.
Definitely not.
So we're gonna have about a little over 40 laps to go. That's only about 14 minutes of racing remaining, so it's 10:10 here on the Eastern Coast. By 10:25, we'll have a winner in hand for you. And I could not guess who it's going to be with how crazy this night's been.
I would say Thomas George has got to be in the catbird seat right now. You know Jeff and Greg are going to go head-to-head here and rough each other up.
I think
there's no love lost there.
I think you're right. I just think that the Nine's got to be careful if these front two get together that he doesn't become a part of, become the meat in their sandwich. So He's got to be careful where he picks to go. Cadell is also in a pretty good spot. His car is damaged, but he's been able to just be very resilient and keep himself up here in the top 5, as well as Casey Shu. And don't count out that 24 of Thomas Bresci. He is really hungry, and we know he's not afraid to lay the bumper back to somebody. He tried earlier and missed, but it's between Greg Evans and Jeff Ward for the lead right now. It's going to be 44 laps to go at the green flag. No love lost between these front two. Oh, but big of a check up there on the outside lane.
Oh.
Green flag back in the air. The 46 tried to fake it. It stacked up the whole outside lane. And we're racing again at the Paperclip.
Yeah, Jonathan there had some severe wheel spin thanks to that checkup. Thankfully, they all get through that clean.
Yeah, the 89 tried to jump it. The 46 noticed that and just tried to basically hang on and wait until the 89 had kind of juked up the entire field. And it screwed everybody up enough where he got a great restart. Cadell to the inside of Shu. This is for 4th. Some contact there, but the pass is complete. Now Jeff Ward needs to get back by this number 9 quickly if he wants to have anything to do with that 46.
Yeah, he's definitely got to make quick work of him.
Top 3 separated by 0.4 of a second.
Jeff really wheeling that car and exit it, seeing it skip all over the place.
He's trying to get to the back bumper, slipping and sliding. He's got to save that stuff long enough to get back to the 46, though. All Greg Evans has to do is lap cleanly from here on out. If no one can get to him, no one can retaliate for what happened earlier. Ward deep on the brakes into turn 3. He's got to get by this 9.
The longer he waits to get around the 9, the better off Greg will be.
But last time through, Thomas George was quicker than both of them. George off into turn 1 now, closing the gap on the leader. Greg Evans might not be the quickest car left in this field. 39 to go at Martinsville.
And Jeff just driving it in deep every time.
Hensley and Bresci, they're fighting for 6th. Bresci's Knight, I think he's really got some severe damage. I don't think he's going to have anything left for these leaders. As quick as he was earlier, that damage is just too severe.
Sadly, he might be suffering from the good old engine damage there.
That time through, it was a couple hundredths of a second, but Evans was the quickest of the top 3. Running out of laps. Ward drifting out of turn 4, trying to get the power down, but just continues to hurt his performance forward. Greg Evans trying to stretch this gap out. He knows that probably half the field behind him would have no problem if he got turned into the wall. But he's got to do everything to stay in front of that 89, who's one of those guys. Cadell loose out of turn 4.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear post-race there with how everyone thinks Greg ran this.
Oh, the 44 sideways! Drifting, and he's going to save it. He'll lose a couple spots. Almost a crash, though. I don't think we're done with cautions yet still. And to the run to the end is still about, 35 laps. That's long enough for us to have tire issues again. But the lead still only about 0.4 of a second. George keeping pace, just not able to eat into that lead.
Yeah, it's kind of what happened earlier. Greg kind of ran out to the half-second lead and just kind of played with him there for a little while.
Right. Oh, Casey Shu bobbles out of turn 4. Gale Brooks scrambles to miss him. Everyone driving over the limit right now, trying to get everything they can here. Only 2 races left in the season after this week. It's ISM Raceway next week, and then it's Homestead. We're getting down to the end of the season. The grudges are going to be held for probably the entire offseason, as they were last time. So if you want to do something now, you might as well get it done, because you got a long time to think about it and stew on it if you don't get what you need to get done tonight. Evans, a bigger lead that time through. 0.483.
Yeah, he's just slowly eking away. It's not by much, but he's just slowly. It's just like he's just riding just good enough to kind of maintain his gap, knowing that Jeff has had problems on this last restart and is fading.
Lap 170 of 200, down to the final 10 minutes here. Wow, Jeff Ward missed the corner by a bunch there. Casey Shu and Gale Brooks, they were side by side for a moment. Casey Shu gets the spot. Back up to the front. Thomas George this time through. A 19.470 to a 19.482. The 470 was Greg Evans. About 100th quicker. But look at George. He's finally found some pace there. He gained about 3 car lengths on the back straightaway that time through. 29 laps to go in the 9 car, trying to close that gap, and he has the last few laps. He's found some pace.
Yeah. He's starting to make that. He's bringing in that little bit of higher entry there and let it roll down before getting on throttle. It seems to be working well for him now.
Greg Evans trying to find a line that will respond under 0.4 of a second. That time through, quicker for the 46. So they're just kind of duking it back and forth.
9 there missed his line there just by a little bit and cost him some time there.
He's driving in harder and harder every lap. He couldn't get it rotated down to the inside. This time through, a 19.488 to a 19.487, a 1,000th of a second separating them. The 9 is closing. It's still two car lengths to the center of the corner, but it seems like the 46 has been beating people on corner exit, which is so important if you want to win a race here at Martinsville.
Yeah, that's key right there, winning corner exit. That even if the guy does beat you on entry, you're going to beat him on exit, and he's just going to be stuck there.
9 is closer still, a car length and a half now. 0.366 seconds, 25 laps to go. Jeff Ward can't do anything. He's helpless back in third, has no pace. The 9 sideways out of turn 2.
That was a little slip by the 9. He didn't lose too much there, so he's still enough there to keep Greg honest.
He's found some pace, but is it going to be enough? He's running out of time.
You got to wonder, though, with the way the package changes here, how much, the package has affected Greg's driving style. I know me personally, this new package, I've not found my rhythm with it yet.
It seems like it's thrown a lot of drivers off. Greg Evans is one of them. He's winless this season after winning over 50% of 2018's races. And this year has not held the checkered flag in hand. He's only 21 laps away from making that a reality. Jeff Ward back in the fight now for second.
Yeah, all of a sudden back in. Both leaders slipped there on exit at 2, and they're all kind of just throwing a blank on each other again.
The top 3 separated by a half a second. The 89 and the 9 slipped out of turn 2. That time Evans got a great launch. But the gap is the smallest it's been in several laps, 0.316 in turn 3. $20 laps to go at the line this time through. Greg Evans, Thomas George, Jeff Ward. George and Ward have been to victory lane. The 46 has not. He's been so hungry tonight. He's made enemies left and right. And we know if that 89 gets to the bumper, he's not going to be cordial about it. He's going to take that 46 and send him into the next county over. But with 20 laps to go, he might not have enough time to get there. The gap is growing again, 3.83 of a second. About 6 minutes of racing remaining. Greg Evans down into turn 1. The 9 closing of Thomas George. He's got the 89 of Jeff Ward all over him. That's probably preventing him from taking the line he wants to run because Ward will stick his nose to the inside and try to take advantage of it. But they need to kind of work together here, William, don't
start
they?
Racing each other hard side by side there, let him check away. But it looks like Jeff has slipped back up again, so.
I think they need to work together here, and I think the 89 needs to kind of wait and let the 9 catch the 46. And then once they dispose of Evans, then they can fight it out. But I think fighting each other for seconds is just going to lose them more time.
Definitely. Especially at short tracks. Just no one wins if you're trying to run down the leader and you start racing for second.
You can tell that 9 car is a touch quicker. But he needs to have a complete focus on the rear bumper of that 46. 17 laps to go now. He's there. He's only half a car length back. He's closing a bunch that time.
Yeah, Greg definitely can drive it in a lot deeper, Thomas can definitely drive it in a lot deeper than Greg there. But Greg's still getting a pretty decent run off to kind of counter that.
See that gap expand there. It's now 4 car lengths. And then it closes right back up to about 1.5 in turn 3. The 89 is being very patient right now. I think he knows that his best bet is to let the 9 get to the 46. 15 laps to go at the Paperclip.
And then you got to remember with the point situation, you wonder how much Jeff is actually going to try it up there and kind of ruin his night, knowing that everyone in front of him has had issues or didn't show up, and he's got a lot to gain points-wise.
But is it all worth it for two spots on the racetrack? He might just be better off hanging out where he is. That time through, Evans was much quicker. Evans has found some pace now. George struggling. Will we go green all the way to the end? There's a battle for 7th going on. Casey Shue, Minto, and Gale Brooks. Will this turn ugly? And the battle for 2nd heating up now. I think Ward realizes that 9's lost some pace, and he's going to start trying to get around the 9 now. Coming back to 12 to go. Running out of time.
Yeah, he's really, if Jeff's going to do anything, he's got to do it now.
Here he comes. And will the 9 give this up? I think he might. He's going to run in high in turn 2. And he might just give this spot to the 89 because they're, yeah, there he goes. 89 gets that 2nd spot away. Is it too little, too late, though? 11 laps to go. Can the 89 chase back down the 46 of Greg Evans? The gap is 6.5 tenths of a second.
And it's going to be close. Jeff's going to have to show some real pace here.
Last time by, it was a 19.729 to a 19.758, advantage 46. That time through, Ward took a big chunk out of the lead, but how will it reflect on the timesheet? This time through, the 46, he's across the line. What are the times? A 19.544 to a 19.565, quicker still for the 46.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have enough pace to get to him now.
Trying a different line now, entering high, exiting low. He slips. He's sideways, drifting and sliding through turn 4. 9 laps to go. The gap's still growing. Meanwhile, behind him, Brandon Minto, Gale Brooks, and Casey Shue continue their fight for 7th. The gap is of 1 second between Greg Evans and Jeff Ford, and continuing to grow. I think that 89 has nothing left in it.
Yeah, I think he used his stuff up just to get around the 9 to kind of maintain there. Jeff didn't show a lot of late race pace, so that's where Greg was beating him. So this is right where Greg wants to be here.
Maybe some frustration for the 9 of Thomas George because they were a lot closer with the 9 leading that group. 7 laps to go now for the 46. Winless this season after winning 9 races last year. The pain of not winning and finishing 2nd and everywhere else than 1st had to weigh on him. He came into tonight very frustrated. Ran over a couple drivers, made some enemies, but it's all going to be forgotten for him when he crosses that line in 6 laps and picks up his checkered flag. That's all that matters. He can't win the championship this year, but he can win this race. 5 to go at the line when they get back around.
And hopefully this will give him the momentum he needs starting for next season, getting that win, getting that monkey off your back, get you focused for next season.
5 laps to go, about 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining in this race. It's nobody other than the 46 of Greg Evans. If the caution comes out now, the race would be over. It'll take a mistake by the 46 to lose it now. Getting by a lap car, John Wilco. 4 to go for the 46.
Yeah, at this point, Greg's been running, when he's been out front, he's had probably one of the better lines and has been very smooth. So I'd be surprised if he were to slip up now.
Battle for 7th continues. The 52 at Casey Shue, Brandon Minto, Gale Brooks. These guys all fighting for positions as well. But in the background, you see Greg Evans now 3 laps to go. 1.5 miles left for the 46, the reigning champion of the Fuel HostVenom Cup Series. Last season, the championship came down to the wire for the 46. He had to drive the wheels off that car to come home in victory lane late in the going. This year, his driving wasn't enough. The new package, distracting, not fitting his skill set really, and it's been a struggle throughout the season, but he's run well enough to be in the points picture until this week. He's going to go home without a possibility of getting a championship trophy, but in 1/2 mile, he will go home with a checkered flag. 1 more lap around Martinsville Speedway for Greg Evans. Jeff Ford closed a bunch the last couple laps, but it's going to be too little, too late. 1/4 mile left for the 46er Greg Evans. Through turns 3 and 4. The 46, winless this year. The monkey is off his back. Greg Evans picks up a checkered flag at the line by just a little bit over Jeff Ford. He almost gave it away, but Greg Evans wins the race.
And that would have been embarrassing if he would have messed that up.
across the line and victorious. It's not going to be a popular one. You see here, there's the 24.
24.
I think that's clear there, but it's not going to be a popular victory, but I don't think it's going to matter to the 46. He'll get to go home with a checkered flag, and at least he's got one number under that winning column for 2019. Winner here at Martinsville. Here's a look at your results. And it looks like the 24 Thomas Bresci came home with a 5th place result. Honestly, that's not a bad finish considering how destroyed that car was earlier in the race. So I'd say not necessarily a victory for the 24, but certainly it could have been a lot worse.
You know, from the 24th point of view, I would consider that a victory and a great recovery there, being able to finish P5 with how, torn up that race car was.
And Tyler Hensley comes home 6th. Jonathan Cadell with a solid top 5 in that number 69 car. Thomas George in 3rd. Jeff Ford almost got it at the end. 0.2 of a second, that winning margin. But Greg Evans victorious here at Martinsville. We'll be on break for just a moment. We'll be back with you and interviews in just a second. Stay put. Welcome back live to SimTV and Martinsville, the third to last race of the season of the 2019 A Fuel HostVenom Cup Series. Here now with third place finisher Thomas George driving the number 9 Chevrolet. Thomas, a crazy wild race, lots of pushing and shoving, lots of very animated drivers and very heated radio, I'm sure. But your car came home relatively clean. You didn't really have a very crazy night. You didn't really get leaned on a whole lot. Didn't lean on anybody, but you sure saw a lot of it. Just walk us through your night and what you saw at the windshield.
I just Typical Martinsville, just gotta be patient, have everything fall your way, basically. Which it actually did for once until that caution came out just before halfway, and the pace car driver decided to take an extra shot of bourbon or something because he wouldn't speed up, so I couldn't get to pit road, and that I guess that pretty much not necessarily ruined the rest of the night, but it's so hard to pass here and so hard to get a run on anybody that you got to have the track position to hold them off. So, and then you got instances where the 89 basically dive bombed me and forced me to choose to move or get out of the way. So between him and my teammate there, so good job on Greg winning. Good job on that, because sometimes that 89 likes to race, but doesn't want to necessarily get raced, at least in my opinion.
So at the end there, clearly some frustration with the 89 and Jeff Ward. Did you feel like he took you out of a chance to win the race those last 20 or so laps?
I don't know if I had anything for Greg. We were running similar, if not exact times, so that's why I said I wanted that first place spot and lost it just before halfway. So I kind of knew once he got up there, it's going to be pretty hard to do. And then you got guy dive bombing you, so you're checking your mirror and you're trying to run your line, and he's dive bombing, basically going to take you out if you don't, watch yourself. So I don't think it necessarily ruined it. It's just typical Martinsville short track racing, but it's going to be about the same at Phoenix too. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not going to complain. Good points tonight could probably jump me up to maybe third or second in the top 4 there. So that's the main goal, clinch it next week and battle for a championship in Homestead.
All right, Thomas. Well, third place result. Certainly a good night for the 9. Thanks for chatting. We'll see you next week at ISM Raceway.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you broadcasting.
Absolutely. Have a great night. We'll talk now with second place finisher Jeff Ward, driving the number 89 Chevrolet Camaro. Jeff, kind of a wild night out there. I know there was a lot of frustration inside and outside the cockpit. Just walk us through your night and some of the emotions that you went through throughout the evening.
Yeah, Cal, I like to cool down a little bit after these races, try not to say things out of line, but that was pretty ridiculous there. I mean, the 46, I don't know if he drank 12 beers before he raced tonight, but he just bonsai'd me. I don't know if he ever lifted and just destroyed me. I think it's because I passed him and I was probably going to be quicker than him. So I guess that was one way he could win it, was just to get rid of me altogether. And he knew he wasn't even going to make it into the playoffs. So ruined my chances. Maybe, because I'm trying to close the door on Thomas on points, and that didn't help. So I was planning on racing him clean. He wasn't having it, so we'll just have to keep battling when we go into Phoenix. And I heard Thomas's comments there too. He left the bottom wide open for me. I never touched him. I've been one of the cleanest drivers all season, I feel like. So some of those comments I'm hearing are crazy. And we had a car that could win, and we just got wrecked a couple times there. So we'll take it and move on.
This season, you mentioned that you've been really clean this season. I definitely agree that you probably haven't laid a bumper on anyone this season. So is that even more frustrating when you come to a racetrack like this and it seems like you just get run over, or you get not given a whole lot of room when you feel like you've earned a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't really laid a fender on anybody before things started going south there for us, so getting ran over and stuff. So I thought we was going to go out there and have a nice, clean battle, a short track battle. But that wasn't the case. But I try to drive everybody clean. I know it's playoffs and tempers can get a little chippy, but I mean, at the end of the night, you want to try to earn people's respect. I've not had too many run-ins with Greg. After that little incident tonight, he come back and said, "Well, that's for Bristol," and it's like, come on, man, you're out of the chase. It's kind of one of those Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano deals at Martinsville, but we still got a chance to get in it, so maybe we could turn this thing around. And I don't plan on retaliating against anybody. That'd probably just hurt us more than help us. So we'll keep going.
All right, so some frustration for the 89 of Jeff Ward, but still a second place result. Jeff, good luck next week at ISM Raceway. We'll see you there.
All right, thanks, guys.
Have a good night. We'll talk to race winner now, Greg Evans, who finally ends the season-long drought that he's had in the wins column. Greg, I know last season coming off of 9 wins in 17 races. This season, a 0 in that column. You changed that tonight, albeit with a little bit of drama and some harsh words in and after the race. Just walk us through the night, your perspective on all those incidents.
Oh, man, I've had a rough year. Had a lot of stuff happen to me, get ran over a lot. I didn't try to intentionally wreck anybody, but tonight was a night to, get a little. I wasn't gonna take anything. I'll just say that. You know, I, it's been a pretty bad year, but with the way the points were sitting, I pretty much had to go out there and try to do what I had to do, and the guys can be upset about it. I understand. I've been there. They've done it to me. So a lot of guys like dishing it out, but they don't like taking it. So tonight was, like I said, I just wasn't going to take anything tonight.
Has it been the package this season that hasn't really meshed very well with your driving style? Do you prefer those higher downforce cars? Because I know there's a lot of people that don't really seem to mesh. And William Troy here, that was broadcasting with me tonight, said that he kind of had the same struggles with the new package. Some drivers like it because just the way that they've, especially if you like racing trucks or Indy cars, this is definitely more their style. But what's been so difficult about getting accustomed to this new package and racing it in a field? Got a copy there, Greg?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the high downforce package. I feel like you don't really have to really drive the car. It's pretty much just so much downforce that you can run wide open at most tracks. So tonight, with the less downforce, was the more horsepower and not really having to worry about downforce was pretty good. I mean, it is what it is. I know some of the some guys like it. I particularly don't. But it is what it is.
All right, so finally ends the winning drought, but not going to be enough to launch you into the next round of the Fuel Finals. Disappointment there, expectations for next season. What's going through your mind here, being out of the Fuel Finals with 2 races left?
I kind of.
We lost you there again, Greg, sorry. Still don't have you, Greg. All right, well, I think we lost Greg Evans there, so that'll be it for tonight. But William, I want to talk to you. Actually, real quick, let's see if we can grab Bressie. I'd want to chat with him real quick, see what his opinions are. He just went off. Never mind, he went AFK. So we'll leave that where it is. So frustration at the end of the night for a lot of drivers. But what are your thoughts on tonight as a whole? And the 46 of Greg Evans ending the winning drought, all that sort of stuff.
Well, it's always nice to see a guy end a winning drought like that. Typical short track tempers are going to flare, especially when someone wrecking balls his way through the field like Greg did, and just good for Greg being able to cash in and warrant saying, hey, I was wrecking ball, but I had the pace to beat y'all. It's your job to come back at me if you want your revenge, and no one was able to cash in on their revenge today.
So that'll do it for tonight's Fuel HostVenom Cup Series race. Next week, we head to... Actually, let me just double-check, make sure that the schedule is correct. So next week, the 11th of June, ISM Raceway at the Open Dog Leg. That's going to be a fun one. Then Homestead Miami Speedway on the 18th of June to finish out the 2019 Fuel HostVenom Cup Series season. Tomorrow, we go Spec MX5 Sim Racing Challenge Racing from Sonoma, 8 o'clock. Actually, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Winding Road Magazine channel. Thursday, Motegi with the Scars Ferrari Challenge. Friday, VRL. Actually, do we have a week off this week for VRL? I think we do.
No, we're racing.
Oh, we are at New Hampshire. New Hampshire
Yep.
for VRL and for ORL. And then we got Charlotte Roval coming up next week for VRL, which I'm really excited for that one. So that's what's coming up on Sim TV the next week. Will, thanks for joining me. Appreciate you coming out here. And what do you think on Sim TV? How is it out here?
Oh, it's fun. It's always nice to be up in the booth, get a different perspective. Wish I could do more of it, but outside scheduling is always an issue.
Absolutely, and scheduling definitely tricky here with all the stuff we got on Sim TV. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for Finian. Will be back on Thursday for Motegi. He was off and away, and unfortunately wasn't able to be at Grid Life where I was over the weekend, but he'll be back on Thursday for Scars Ferrari Challenge. We'll have the whole team back together after a week of not being here. So appreciate everyone's patience, and we'll see you tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. for Spec MX5 Sim Racing Challenge at Sonoma on the Winding Road Magazine channel. Have a great night.